Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Living. Tonight I'll be introducing you to Ramblings of the Chaotic Mind, which will be a podcast series that I'll do periodically from time to time. It's just something more like a kind of rant. Just talk about set topics. I kind of enjoy. I am kind of having all kinds of issues tonight. Not sure on. I had to start my computer and load all this. We are free TV. Yeah, I don't know. I've got it set so anybody links, but apparently not accepting it. Went ahead and made your mod. Let's see, what link did you put in here? Yeah, maybe I refresh. It's not even showing it live. There we go. Been a while since I've had these kinds of hiccups on a live stream. Like nothing wants to work on here right tonight. Yeah, I've had it set up in my settings, links in comments and chat. It's kind of screwed up. But I know enough to know. No, you're. I kind of like some of that van life. That was cool. I think I've seen that one. But yeah, I mean, there's, like I said, YouTube has all kinds of stuff that people don't even realize. You know, when we think of prepping and stuff, most people wouldn't think of and school buses turning them into a clean shelter. Just not for off the grid. We're doing it for off the grid. Stuff like that's kind of interesting. And I figured by now most of you that follow this channel, now that I've actually opened up my all my likes and playlists, you'll see pretty much all over the map when it comes to things. But everything seems to be working right now. But for those that haven't caught any of my ramblings of the chaotic mind, this will be the first time. Yeah, it's not really off the grid. No, it's not. A lot of those aren't. I mean, but it allows you to go from place to place, and you're home because your vehicle is home. And in this case, and it's a good idea for the want to get up and just travel. Don't want to stay in one spot and just want to see things. I mean, like it used to be back when I was younger. When I was young, it wasn't hard for you just to, pull up somewhere, job wherever you're at for a month to build up some extra cash and go on to the next spot, which gives you, time to explore things, see things. It's a fun way of life, Your debt-free traveling is good. I mean, other than gas and stuff, some of the minor things you got to do, you are debt-free. I mean, it's not like it used to be. I mean, if it was like it was used to, that's an awesome way to venture because you can go places, do some work, just find a job, use your skills. Well, it's something I haven't talked about on the show yet. But me and my friends have been talking about it. Not next year, but 2019. I'm making plans to the Appalachian Trail. You know, right? Yeah, in most cases, you own that vehicle. You know, no mortgage, no car payment. You know, I was watching, what is it, SOS Survival. He had to do a video series on turning a camping trailer into a more of a bug out or just something a little bit different. What he's doing is he's going to go buy the camping trailer at a junkyard. He found a junkyard near him has nothing but camping trailers of you name it, of every kind. You know, where you can buy the parts and stuff because you know it's about being affordable too. You want to be able to do things cheap. You know, it becomes a project. You start to learn how much we buying these things to be more of a permanent shelter, but a shelter that you can go places, set up. You know, most people don't think about it because you know, I do a low budget prep because it's all of the things you have. You'd be people amazed at the things staying around their house over years. Everything that you normally think is junk actually has that. Clear down to that broken PlayStation or old Atari that's been set in the attic you completely forgot about. The cords and stuff. You know, for your when you need wiring and stuff, that extra cords and stuff. The game stuff might not work. Some of the electronics in it can be repurposed, can be refinished. I mean, just like for me, there's some videos on. I had a California king size waterbed. Yeah, getting rid of all the junk. I had a California king size waterbed. Wow, having it for years. The mattress getting a hole in it. It was just getting in the way in storage. The only thing I kept was the headboard. But I took the frame and made a portable mill saw, so I can mill my lumber. You know, and I made the brackets and stuff so I, you know, can't go buy the expensive things so you can use the saw. Buy the one where you can use your chainsaw. I made my own brass to mount them so I could use a chainsaw. The old waterbed frame. It's all about refurbishing stuff. That wood was sitting around the little truck, which I hadn't done anything else. Actually, a jack of all trades. I grew up in construction. I mean, that's when I had a factory job or something else. I mean, I can build a house from the ground. I don't like doing electrical stuff, but I can do it. Don't like it, but I can do it. But I'm also into some old school stuff too, like timber framing, using the chisels and stuff instead of all the power tools. We got luxury. I have those skills. You know, just like I have skills on how to make septic tanks and how to work with them and stuff. And actually, people would be really amazed or find out that how dangerous making septic tanks is. One drop of sweat can cause an explosion when you're using the kiln to kiln. I'm also do metal stuff, cars. I do everything. Computers. I do guys. You've heard me talk about building websites, design them, coding work. It's important. I try to do things to you guys because they're skills. The more skills you have, the more value you have. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to be like right now. Projects I'm working on behind that haven't been filmed. I'm learning from here on YouTube. You know, people don't realize how much tools you have for metalworking, woodworking, house working on cars. You have a lot, all of it. I mean, we have a lathe in one of our sheds. It's not being used. So I've been learning how to use the lathe. And then, you know, with all the other woodwork, inners, outers, you know, clear down metalworking. I've got pipe bending material. I've got a Goldsmith forge. You know, these are stuff that I've been meaning to do a couple of years. Yes, exactly. Let me screen. See, I'm finding it's more important to show screen the image now because so people can see the chat's important. And so talk about actually my project for spring. I caught up doing I had hair things and much for everything that I work in getting ready for the summer. I'm actually getting as soon as it freezes a little bit more so I can get the truck up the woods and haul some of these down timbers we've got. I'm going to be making a greenhouse. I'm going to decide to make a greenhouse. You don't need expensive stuff. I used framing as how I'm going to make it, timber framing. But you don't need the glass like we all. There's plenty of videos on shows you how to use tarps. And I'm talking about cheap tarps. You don't have to go spend plastic wood as well, but you can use tarp now to make a greenhouse. I've already figured out down where I'm going to set it up. I'm going to walk show you how well the portable sawmill works. It actually works pretty good now that I got the chain situation on it, chainsaw. And that's just in the things that we have around on the property. I've shown you some video property of the field and stuff. But yeah, I'm going to build a house because, you know, something we do have shown. Got shown. I've been over in the trailer in a while. But we also have arrow gardens. So we can grow all year round, not that much, but with gardens, what makes it so beautiful is you can get the thing stuck, then transplant stuff from the air and right to your house. So you can be growing and harvesting all year round. That's the thing. The other thing, guys, materials. You'll be shocked. You just drive around. Some people just throw that stuff for junk. Some places for you know, when they're done with job, anything where they either give it to the employees, trash it. Sometimes you can talk to and get great deals on material. Or you might want, or if you're adventurous enough, I've done it, look for ads for people that want maybe a barn or shed torn down. All you can refurbish because they want it taken down, they give everything to you away. So look for places like, I haven't found in Ohio. I heard there, my dad said something about something. I'm going to have to check it out. But in North Carolina, this place, Restore It. Well, what Resort was basically, people would just take stuff, dump it. I mean, you'll find tools, furniture, lighting fixtures, hot tubs, refrigerators, all kinds of stuff that people just donate. They sit there, put a little, verbiage it a little bit, turn around, sell it cheap. Yeah, pallets are always considered tried, and they're not. That were on the pallet is actually really refurbished for other things. I mean, the main things on the pallets that are real good wood is the 2x4s. You know, so per pallet you get 3 2x4s of things that you always can find a purpose for. I mean, like we got our burn for well, this commercial for burning stuff. You know, when we burn wood and stuff, we got a decent size turned into other things, furniture and stuff. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to burn, or it can be put on a lathe and something. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that you have land to take for granted. That's, you know, just burn wood. Some of that wood can reuse. I mean, some of that burn wood we have out there can actually be put on the on into usable wood for projects. You know, just like I said, years I just bought tools. You know, one time use, but you know, and shit that I showed you pictures. I think in the videos putting together that hoist, welding up that hoist, I showed you the use stick weld. Fine. I know it's perfectly fine because I just got done extending the car trailer out there. So if I'm putting solid weld, the stick welder that's, you know, was made in the 70s, if they don't break, we got close to 4 top of it. Quality of the older tools, but I'm also some of the stuff I'm thinking on using this stuff that I'm going to just always talk importance of knowing how to use old school tools. There's the old hand planers, the old like a drill, hand drill. Yeah. Knowing how to use them because it's important. You know, in a situation if we, you know, lights go up, our electric store like that, you can still do projects, you can still build things. You don't need the power. And it's product that's a forgotten. So there's nothing wrong with it. There's also knowing to use the older stuff, chisel, hand saws and stuff. Even if people don't know, you can make a saw to cut like a user circular saw thing. How much is user circular saw table? You can make that paddle and use it and paddle it. School techniques still can be used. Want to help a calf workout? A lot of the skills and stuff people don't realize. You see a lot of prepping. They talk about all this stuff. You know, you catch search, blood crap. All that has a way to be integrated in other forms. being cleared down to making your own arrows out of wood. We've gotten used to, everything's got to be carbon fiber and stuff fresh. No, learn how to do fletching. Learn how to make your own arrows and arrowheads. Skill. That does happen because maybe one day you're not going to be able to go to a store and buy it. You got a perfectly good bow. Real arrow shafts don't last. Not even the carbon fiber ones. And that's stuff you can learn to do by hand, or you can use a wood lathe and make your shafts. Just like see how, it kills me sometimes to see just what people throw away. Old furniture and stuff. You can realize how much refurbished stuff can get off that old furniture. I'm not talking about your like solder stuff, because that's just pretty much all garbage plywood. But that still, it's usable. It's just not gonna last long because obviously it didn't last long, but because you throw it away. Especially if you got kids. Only against the cheap stuff that you get Walmart solders and stuff like that. When your kids are growing up, they're gonna ruin it. It happens. You don't invest into the real furniture. Maybe they grow up and they're not as distinctive. Me, I like the old wood stuff because it lasts forever. Just like this house. This house is over almost 200 years old. I can still own the attic up here in my room and go up, and you can still look up and see the bark still on the timber for the beam of the house. See, I don't know what part you're TV, how close your vestibule and all that area. For here in Ohio. Some of the best carpentry work, house building work, crafting work, can get from the. And when they built something, they built it to last. I know in there was used to be a gun store that was up, ran by the Amish. All made crafted stuff, milled stuff, knives and stuff. I haven't been in a while. It just goes to show what crafted stuff versus commercial stuff. You really do, in most cases, get what you pay for. Because most of the crafted stuff will outlast commercial stuff. Now to change a little bit, I did actually kind of want to talk about tonight as well. I'm sure we all are familiar with what happened Friday. I don't know how many are actually really familiar with it, but obviously had to retract what they did. Of course, they knew about it well before they retracted it. Sometimes it is important. Yeah, it also depends on you. Because they didn't want to retract that story because they ran with it knowing it was wrong to run. This market was doing great. Once that spoke, it dropped 300 points, never recovered. Because nobody talked about. Nobody said, "Oh, that's fake. It was reported it wrong." Did it go? And this is something I've known, friends of mine know about a lot, and bring it up because it is important to understand that it's a Trump effect. You know, matter that most people think overlook. I mean, we broke that news and basically said, "Oh, it's going to lead to Trump and all this," caused such a drastic occurrence to happen. It goes back to, I mentioned, hitting on this before, you know. But what happens? Let's say they do try to impeach Trump. Let's say, heaven forbid, something happens like happened with, which is my theory, why he actually hasn't looked into that. Look in, check out those files. I mean, I've only delved into it a little, and it was really revealing to, was really a blame how much we were lied to. I understand why he put it out, because showing people, hey, look, this could be me. Here's what most people understand. We see how much divided, much division there is, you know, but in a sense, not really. Because if something would happen to him, if he'd be impeached, and mind you, this is my theories on it. I think, you know, we've been hearing the CW thrown around. Honestly, not really. I think but in the end, he's another rich politician, rich businessman. I like to believe what he said. At the same time, we've heard this song dance before. And to think it another way, that, I mean, we keep it real. If he went against anybody else, he wouldn't have a president. Now, I know a little bit more backstory in them that I haven't shared stuff. There's a part of me actually does kind of believe he is for us. Not completely. He is about us. That I do believe. He wants to see America great again. But here's what makes America great. Very, very differently. You know, he was the biggest money wrench ever thrown in the system. They used him to divide the country. I mean, it was a control. Yeah. I was a mastermind, an elitist, or New World Order. He was the perfect one to put into the position and win. Why? Look what happened. Look at the result. He divided this country. And it might not have been his intention, but that he did. The rift he caused, the tensions that he caused. I also look at some of the good things that happened about him. We look at, I mean, man's a genius. Don't. Dude is a master chess, tactician. He is a genius. He plays everybody. He's got Congress played. Why? I've never seen so much run of your face. These guys are putting over their feet, not even paying attention to the things they're saying. Everything comes out. The true snakes are actually showing their hands. That's what happens when somebody like Trump into play. That's not nearly good for our country. It's good for showing us who actually and what they're all about. But it brings building tension because we're seeing nothing's getting done. about us. We're seeing how great these people are. It goes back to how I talked about them in the broadcast. We still live caste system. These guys are no more. These guys act like they're no abilities, and that we're the peasants. You know, we're under them, and we serve them. Yeah, you know, just like the tax plan sounds good, but the more you look into it, maybe not great of a deal for us. And then again, we also have to look at it. In 2 more years, because this year's almost over, there's going to be another election. So everything does probably get undone anyway. The dangers I see with him, and there's starting a lot that I've noticed. I hope my theory is actually wrong. If he chose to do what happened, and it happened, that's why I'm in place. That's what I'm still going to do. The knight in shining armor, because it's important to understand what knight in white and shining armor means. Because to a lot of people, Trump is the knight in white and shining armor. And that can be dangerous. Very dangerous, as we've seen. I can write you for an example. The stock market plummeted 300, all because of what was said by ABC News. But they tracked it immediately. They knew. I mean, it must be truthful. They knew when the story. The transcripts and stuff was already public knowledge. Anybody could have and seen they were lying. That's the danger. Well, no, he's not mine either. Knight in white, knight in armor either. Yeah. Oh. So I won't go that far because he's president. Because he is the president. He dumped the Constitution and breaks our life that force us to see him no differently than anybody else. As a dictator or anything like that, then he'll no longer be our president. I mean, just like stand Obama. I didn't agree with nothing he did. Except for maybe not even 2 things I may agree with. I can't even remember what they were, so apparently he didn't do much. I never voted for him. The fact is president. But he was a borderline dude too. Because people don't realize how a figure like can be. But he can be anybody that we make it. I mean, Alex Jones is dangerous. Well, all bullshit aside, Alex Jones is very dangerous because of the followers he's got, all that will cling every word. Alex Jones has become more of a cult than anything because he's got that control over the followers. His followers. He can. I mean, not all of them are like that. A lot of them cling everything he says. God, I mean, it's dangerous. yes, they selected heavily with the state. You know, we've seen so much corruption. Keep hearing so many different stories, so many different people coming out with, it's a dangerous we live in because information is now different. Because we don't, something that's hard, real information from fake information, because a lot of real with a bunch of personal opinions and views, information, just like, sure, some of you guys may have heard talks, I've had a couple people ask what about it, I don't know how many of you guys have heard about it, but there's been a few people talked about it, about the Marines take a siege to the CIA, take it over to the CIA. There was reports that when Trump was overseas, his bodyguards would seek but the Marines. And there was also reports that the Marines aren't answering to and that guys rabbit hole that use your discretion, right? I don't know, but you can see it too. He affects people. I can tell. Corruption. We see it. Because we can all say the same thing. Okay, example. Okay, you're trying for perjury for lying, but yet you're not trying Hillary. Did the very same thing. Oh, I can't remember all of it all over Twitter. Some of it's related to Q Clearance Patriot or Q. I think Don talked about it. Anyway, there's been a few other people I follow. One of my last thoughts were, I don't know. I mean, I can see, it's like anything, I can see the theories behind it. I can see it now. And that's why I like these. Let's just rise on them. What ifs? Because we live in a powder keg. We do live in a situation where, you got senators talking about civil war. When you got other people that have huge following talk about civil war. Let's war talk here. It won't be a civil war. The wrong word. It's the R word, evolution. Because that is what we're talking about. You've got states that are pretty much rogue states like California that time after time, it's not California, New York, Hawaii. I mean, there's like states that every time, whether it be a travel ban or anything on immigration, then my thing would be to that would be well, food. Do you store it or consume it right away? Or do you set on it? Because there's a lot of certain ones out there that are healthy food. A bunch of bad ones out there. Store seeds. Yep. Same way with information. Some days, this is not to talk about. Keep to yourself. Knowing when to discretion, or knowing that, that shouldn't be talked about here on YouTube. we'll talk amongst ourselves and philosophize and wait. Alrighty. Apparently what I was talking about was a no-no. Give me 1 second. I got disconnected. Apparently my connection dropped. I haven't had that happen in a while. And you are very right. Hemp is one of the greatest materials on earth. It has so many purposes. Most people don't understand. You're kind of right there. That's one of the real reasons it's illegal. And actually, it is the real reason it's illegal. Why? You got to go back in time. You got to go study U.S. history. We used hemp for everything, for making clothes, paper, rope. Corporations came in. Yeah, I can see we're going to have some issues here. Keep breaking up. The paper industry came in, and they want to cut trees. They want to have control over that market. So they're the ones. And this is in history, guys. You can follow the key court cases and stuff. I can't remember who was all involved in it, but they made it so hemp would be illegal, so they could use the tree industry to make paper, so they could make more money off cotton, because anybody could grow hemp. There was no real laws against it. I mean, right now I can go up to Michigan and go to state and government, abandoned state and government hemp fields where the hemp still grows wild, because that's what was the plantations. They were hemp plantations owned by the state and government. All that got shut down when the paper industry and tree industry. Yeah, exactly. But it killed the market. They don't want nothing that anybody can grow. I mean, any of us can grow a tree. But how long does it take before you can harvest that tree? Well, for anybody who don't know, a long time. In Maine, the tree industry and lumbering industry is so regulated. They go in and pick out what you can cut. Here's the rule. Here's the law that you'll get this whole section you can cut. You can cut it, you got to clear it, and then you got to replant it. Well, what's that? What does that do? Well, the next that field or that area that was marked off to be clear cut will be replanted. Then 2 generations from now, those loggers' grandchildren will be able to farm that very area that their grandparents had farmed. It becomes a business, it becomes a monopoly that keeps on going. It's regulated. Where now with hemp, we don't have to wait generations. You know, just like all the medical research that has been done on it. There's no reason why it should even be legal, except for, let's get that out the way. Well, here's how that works. And it goes with anything that they ever argue about, whether it's global warming or the war on drugs. Their researchers, their scientists that they pay will give them exactly what they want to hear. Where this group, who's not paid, will tell you exactly the opposite. You got two different groups of people saying two different things. One's paid, one's not. There's the difference. That's the real thing. That's why you go off statistics. Me, could go out. Basically, I'm going to use We Are Free TV. We could decide, let's make a little poll. Live on different ends of the same state. Different towns. We can use the very same poll. 9 times out of 10, the results are different because of the area we live in or the targeted poll we target to do the poll. We can make it very one-sided. That's how statistics are done. To 100 people, you know the demographic, you know how they normally vote, you know just different patterns. You can do a one-sided poll to make your view and your opinion more factual-based on a poll that is completely rigged because it's the demographics. It's targeting people that you know would be more inclined to view your poll that way. Just like if I do a poll on Twitter that would be pro or against Trump, it would turn out to be more pro than it would be against because more of my followers are Trump supporters. Trump base, make America great. I don't have many followers that are anti-Trump. Yeah, you are very right there. It had an impact, but I also got my own view on global warming. We affect it. We have an impact on it, but it's so minute. Just from now, for those that believe in, you can see stuff through the core samples of trees, through the ice and stuff. They're shown periods in history through these core samples where global warming was far worse than what it is with the population we have today. It shows that, the Earth goes through a cycle. That our impact is so minute, we shouldn't even be discussing the subject. Can we impact it? Yes. There's things, we put pollution in the air, but it's still not as bad. Yes, you are right. Each of us are the fix. And it's not because we know everything. No, because we each have a unique view. We see things differently. We can come together, discuss things. We know what it's like to work for things. We know what it's like to question things. If I want change in my life, ain't nobody going to make that change. Nobody can make me change. Only I can change. We get caught up. We need all these politicians. We need these people. And there's some truth to that. History's shown us that. Because for some odd reason, as being humans, we have this need to have people that are leaders. Don't know why, it just seems to be human nature. I'm not somebody that likes to be led. I'm not a follower. But a lot of people are. That's actually a subject I've been wanting to talk about for a while. Because, I hear people always put the blame game on stuff. We need to be less. I'm all for less government. I'm all for less state, too. But you look at every community has a leader structure. It's been like that throughout the age of time. So that's why another reason why the utopia idea will never work. because human beings look for something higher. They look for a leader. Not everybody is leaders. Not everybody has those strengths. Not everybody are warriors. And you can see we start falling back into what we call the caste system. It's ingrained in us. I don't know why. I don't understand why it would be. Because I've watched people, individuals, be able to live freely, not have no leadership, worry about leadership, that can work well with others in communities, where they treat everybody as equals. But the majority can't. They have to have some structure, somebody to put laws in place. Let me tell you something. This is only my opinion. I think there was more justice and more law during the Wild Wild West than there is today, especially in states like California. Because in the Wild Wild West, yeah, that person, he would either get the hangman against gallows or a bullet. If justice wasn't done, and in a court like that, in a courtroom setting, the town would have held court in the street. So yes, I am really starting to believe there was more justice and more law during the Wild Wild West. And I also can go back. Politicians were also less corrupt back then. Why? Because they could call out another politician, take him out back and duel him. Or if a person didn't listen to the people of the community they came from, they could come back and face penalty from the community. We don't have that anymore. There's no more checks and balances to our government. Because they think they're above the law. They think they're above all of us. There's no longer we the people. We the people is now the illusion. They don't fear us. And it goes back, I'm going to tie this back into what I was talking about with the stock market, how Trump had such an impact. He has an impact on it. Yeah, that is another valid point. They were just smaller corporations back then. You know, we can see that with the Pinkertons and some of the banks that was still around today that can draw their lineage clear back to those times. They were smaller. They were just figuring it out. Sometimes it takes time to grow to what they become today. Like I said, what we're seeing happens. It's not like it hasn't happened before. It's happened throughout the century. We just find new labels or ways to call things. You know, there's been many empires that have rose and were mighty and great, but they all fell. And why they fall? Almost all of them fell because of corruption, greed. Them thinking that they had their foot on the population, that they were above the common people. It always comes down to that. You know, our forefathers tried to give us a way not to be like that. You know, the way the Constitution was written before they started making changes. You know, truthfully, if you read the Constitution up to a certain point, it basically tells you this may not be amended or changed or added to. But even then, I mean, I know through my own ancestry, even then we had the Nationalist Party. In our government, we had, I can't remember the proper term for them, but you know, the ones that were from Europe still loyal to the crown, to the king, queen. In our political system. most people don't realize that, forgotten that, because it's not really taught in history anymore. It's really not taught anymore. But we had that. They still had their influences. They still, but back then they were the minority. They didn't have their full hooks into the system because the system was new. It was still full of free thinkers and creative ideas, people that wanted a different way of life. They didn't want to be subject to the crown, to taxation, to the things that made us more like slaves. Everybody's going to have their own opinion on that. Some people are going to say, our forefathers were a bunch of Masons, and this is what they had planned for us or not. All on. Well, if you believe what the Constitution says as a black and white form, it kind of refutes that because they wanted you to be free. They wanted you to have rights. They wanted to be your own. They wanted small government. Because they realized the same thing history has shown us. We rely on leaders. We rely on people to do things. No matter what form. I can take it back to clear to your churches. You have a pastor, you have a deacon, and various other roles. Then you have your congregation. Nothing's changed on that aspect. Communities have leaders within their community. It's been like that. And we've now living in a time where, let's just say something would happen to our president. He'd either get impeached or removed. What would happen? That's where some of my theory comes to. In some ways, I think he was the perfect pawn to be put in that position because he had no opposition. There's no way. Smaller is way big. Smaller is bigger, yes. There was no way, if there was any other candidate out there that would have ran against him, he would have never won. Hillary was the perfect tool, the perfect pawn in a grander scale of the game. As a thinking on as a tactician and on strategy, if I wanted to cause so much division, so much disruption, to where eventually that spark could get lit and cause pure chaos, fighting, war inside a country, that sets the stage for a knight in shining armor to come in. And I guarantee you, if that is the case, we don't want that knight in white and shiny armor. Yeah, very less totalitarian control. Less than none, in my opinion. It's dangerous thinking, but in a sense, that's what they've created. They've created the perfect powder keg. Now all they need is put a few more pieces and wait for a few more pieces to fall right in place. And we could see a complete collapse, a complete chaotic situation that was set for many years in the making, to where one world government could take effect, or a more dictator type government coming into being. The ideology behind it is vast because there's so many different options that could come about. Well, we're too busy fighting amongst ourselves, or thinking that we're going to be on the winning side by taking our government back. That'll be many people thinking will not be completely open to things that are actually out in the back, behind the scenes, in the shadows forever. That's why it's important to talk about these theories, philosophize about them, debate about them. One, you kind of bring some things into the open that aren't talked about. Two, what happens when you bring something in the open? You make them change things. Three, it makes you more aware, more watchful for things like that. You have an awareness now of a potential threat. Will it happen? Who knows? I mean, right now, it's a theory. But you can see pieces of the puzzle falling into place. Right now, truthfully, of course, I tuned a bunch of things out. I do see less arguing back and forth with people. We're not seeing all the protests and stuff, the violent stuff like we were earlier in the year. Maybe it's died down now. Maybe it's finally got out of their system. I think that's a little wishful thinking, but, maybe people are finally waking up, getting it. It's hard to say, because I still want people, keep playing the stupid game. Now, more awareness doesn't hurt at all, because I still see the divisions. I still see the fractured, what we want to call, what we used to call alt-right, now how fractured it is. How many different factions of the alt-right do we have now? Each with a different view and opinion that they can't even agree on anything now. People don't, they see it, but they don't pay attention to it. They don't get it. You see them, we're going to blame the baby boomers. Now, you guys let all this happen. Or we get more race-induced talk. That's what they want. I mean, my problem with the alt-right is they never vetted the people they let into their group. I mean, they let people in there that had ideologies and views that had nothing to do with the alt-right. And they let them change what the alt-right started out to be. I mean, you see that with every organization. I can point out feminist groups, LGBT, now it's LGBTQ. All these movements let people in that truthfully didn't care about their moves and let them change their message. And how they do it, it was easy. Everybody was so mad or upset because Trump won. It put so much division. It was easy to infiltrate these groups and play on that. It was easy to slide into these groups, play on that, and change their message, change what they were about. Because I'll tell you what, during that Women's March in D.C. after the inauguration, when that man hit that woman, if he would have done that in the 80s, 70s, 60s, that man would have been lucky to walk out of there. He'd have been lucky the cops got to him. Instead, what happened? All these women protected him and shielded him from the cops. Now, how twisted is that? He hit another woman. That killed their message forever. Because anybody that's witnessed that, watched that, read it, heard it, killed that movement. It took the voice and meaning of what that movement stood for away forever. And it's happened to every group out there. That's what people don't get. That's what happens when we get divided. When we get such emotion or hatred towards a person. We can't see past that. And it's much more easier for you to be misled, deceived, led down a path that you would not normally go. People know how to play on those hatreds, knows how to play on those emotions. Just like Trump knows how. He does it every day with his Twitter. He knows how much it pisses some people off. He knows how it makes people react. And he does it on purpose. Like I said, 2 years ago, you wouldn't see the politicians saying what they're saying, doing what they're doing. Some would just, oh, it's because it was a different administration. I'm talking about the corruptness. I mean the blatant corruptness of it. It's just come to light. They're showing who they really are. And who are they? They're definitely not about you, the people. We, the people. They don't care about you. I mean, everybody should be steaming mad about everything that comes to light that they do. Everybody should be rallying against what happened in California. That woman was murdered. You know, we should be demanding that the Ninth Circuit Court, some of these judges be removed. Not voted into, well, I think on the Ninth Circuit, they're not voted in, they're appointed in. I mean, that could be said about anybody that's on there, though. I mean, I look at it this way. What is Twitter? Twitter is nothing but another tool at my disposal. Another way for me to reach more people, different people. But am I supporting the corruption that Twitter's become? Same way, I'm using Google Hangouts. I'm using Chrome, Google. Am I supporting that because I'm using it? You know, it goes back to the discussion we had with consent versus we do not consent. I'm using it as a tool. Now, we can argue morals all day long about it because that's where it falls under. It's morals. If I roll over and don't use these things as tools, then I can't do what I'm doing now with you guys. Because, well, some of us don't live near each other. Some of us would have never met if it wasn't for these tools. I mean, now there's a good question. But let's get off Twitter for a second. Let's look at Gab. Up until this year, early this year, you still had to wait and apply to get on Gab. I mean, I was on a waiting list for over 7 months to get on Gab. I just got lucky and heard a broadcast that they were interviewing one of the creators of Gab, and they opened up during the broadcast. Whoever signed up during the broadcast automatically got an account. So I went and signed up and got my account. Where others that didn't catch that show went up, heard about it, signed up, and they got put on the waiting list. But you can look at Gab. All of a sudden, they were getting mass donations for to build their platform, and they used the Trump. See, everybody's using the Trump phenomenon. They used it to grow, and now it becomes a free, somewhat of a free speech platform, an alternative to Twitter. They used the Trump phenomenon. That's what it is. It's a Trump phenomenon. You know, we've seen pictures of Snoop Dogg, talking, giving praise to Trump. You know what? I'm willing to bet he still does. I'm willing to bet he's still probably one of his best friends. But you know what? Snoop is a businessman. Whether you like it or not, he is a businessman. He knows how to sell things. He learned that very same aspect from Trump. He knows that there's a bunch of people that dislike Trump. There's a division. And he's playing off it. Guess what? He's making a killing by doing it. His record sales are up, considering he hasn't made a good album in forever. I don't know if he's ever made a good album. It's truthful, but hey, that's also my opinion when it comes to music. There is that effect. I mean, we can also look at Trump's been good for business for Twitter too. Trump's been good for business on YouTube, Facebook. Trump's good for business. Whether you like him or hate him, because if you hate him, you're going to be drawn into all that advertising, all that marketing for anti-Trump stuff, which is making tons of money. Exactly. He knows how to profit. We didn't elect him to be anything else. He's a businessman. We elected him on the principle that he's going to make America great again. He's going to bring jobs back to America. I don't see no jobs coming back to where I live. I still see factories shutting down. So, I mean, granted, I've seen where other places he's brought jobs to, but he hasn't my state yet, or it's not in the area I live in. You know, every politician's done it. Everybody does it. You know, almost everybody on YouTube does it, whether they realize it or not. When you use a clickbait or you go after, start talking about things that are trending, title your things trendy or title them so they're catchy. You're playing towards your audience. Say I'm doing it. Sons and Daughters of Liberty. I mean, for those that never watched the channel or never heard the backstory of the channel, why I call it that, why this would have meaning to me, they wouldn't understand it. They'd say, oh, you're playing off the political platform. No, I'm actually using my ancestry, my heritage, my lineage. I'm a descendant of somebody that signed the Constitution. But even that's great. It's hard to grow a small business because you're going up against corporate businesses. They have the money to crush you every time. Or they have enough money to stop you from running ads on Google so that their ads take priority over yours. That's the drawback. That's why, I haven't done it in a while. I'm going to reach out to a couple of people. I'm going to try with one of my friends I've been talking to, get her on, bring her on, because they create their own small little business. It's a little craft business. Actually, I might see if I can do that this week because of the holidays. But they're a mom and pop store. What it is, it's a bunch of college students that got out of college, working their asses off on regular jobs, but still coming home and doing crafts, baking things to sell. Trying to build up a small business to make ends meet. Using what tools do they got at disposal? They don't get much advertising. They can't afford to advertise, to dump a bunch of money to advertise. They got to rely on people like me and others that would want to freely advertise them and to charge them. That's something I've always done, even when I was in the magazine. Ran my magazine, wrote it. We freely advertised. You want to run your ad, advertise your thing? We did it, people. But that don't make money. That don't keep you afloat. Yeah. I mean, essentially that's what I'm have to fall back on right now is my skills. The things I got laying around here to open up my own business, which I'm slowly finishing up the stuff that I needed to finish up so I can actually start working on stuff, making things. Building up a little stockpile so I can then go on, create my little e-store, and You know, something on the side. You know, that's what people don't get. We have so many tools at our disposal, but we are hindered in certain aspects. You know, we can't compete against big corporations or people that don't like what we're saying, so therefore we're not going to allow you to monetize. We're not going to allow you to put that link in your description. By the way, guys, that's actually in the TOS. I have heard a few people. They got community strike because of it, putting a description to one of their supporters or one of their sponsors in their link. It can be considered spam by the TOS here on YouTube, and actually on almost every platform. You know, it's just like I could say what my dad did. My dad bought all those tools while he was working. Now, us kids, when we follow him, because now we got all these tools, as long as we got the skills and knowledge to use them, which is easy, go on YouTube. You can learn any skill and trade. And you put the time in to learn and work the craft, you can become quite good at it. It gives us an opportunity to make things. You know, for all of you guys that are into the guns and that do your own, what's it called? Reloading. You guys know you can make money off reloads too. I know people in North Carolina that would go to their local, there was a farmer's, what was it called? I can't remember what it was called. That was like a farmer's fair, but every Monday they had a farmer's fair where anybody can go in and sell their wares, whether it be guns, ammo, crafts, milk, food, vegetables. I mean, our local fairground does it every summer. Sell your wares. I mean, yes, you got to be able to make investments. That's the other part that hurts. Sometimes you got to be able to make investments to get things. But if you have those things, or you have material that you could make things out of to be able to resell and make the investment to get something better that would make doing things easier, that's another line of doing it. Reaching out to people you know would give you help advertise your thing that won't charge you. Those are important. You know? Because here's another way to look at it. So, but you're not making no money off it. You're right, I'm not. But what am I making off it? That person is going to get business from me, from people that might get business from me, from people that might watch these videos, that seeing them talk about it or see their ad appear. They're going to go check it out. And once that happens, that person's going to say, well, yeah, you know, here I did a interview here. I showcase my stuff here. They might mention my channel or your channel. Therefore, now it's reciprocating. It's working both ways. That one act of kindness that you just did will eventually come back. Whether it be them talking to people in their store, you might like this guy's channel, check him out. So it does work, you know. And then they might not ever mention your name again. But you would never know if you didn't try. You know, sometimes doing things freely has more benefit instead of sitting here expecting to get paid for everything you do. That's how corporation keeps us under their heels and foot. Because we get in that mentality that we have to charge, we have to do this, or else we can't keep doing what we're doing. You know, that's why I try not to get caught up in the clickbait or using certain labels to draw attention to the channel, because that's not what my channel's about. Why would I do that? It's not what it's about. Because at some point, I'm probably going to talk bad about something. One of these groups or one of these labels or something that Trump does or something this congressman does. I mean, I've talked bad about Rand Paul. Why? I mean, there's all that talk about Second Amendment rights, carrying your guns, protecting yourself. It's been 2 incidents now. All I got to say is, where was your gun? Especially at your own home. Where was your gun? It goes back to what I thought. You also live an example. The old and practice speech. Because it gives you, if people see you living by what you say, doing the things you say, have more respect, apt to believe you or trust you. And there's just some people never going to like you because you can come from topic to topic. You're not scared to talk about anything and everything. And some people that they like, but we can't out something when somebody something wrong we deem as bad, and we can't point it out because welcome Ohio grows chili. Just allowing ourselves to be run out. I mean, bottom line, you can't appease everybody. I'm going to somebody eventually. That's what I'll tell you. These are my opinions and my views. What I want you to do is question everything. I want you to learn to question everything. Question everything I say, everything else somebody else says. That's your new channel? Because it is important to question things. Even if it's important to play devil's advocate too. Even though you believe it, play devil's advocate. Find out that, whoa, why did I didn't care. I don't agree with that now that I've played devil's advocate. I think these are the things we're been taught to do anymore. That's so easy for people to be manipulated and believing that what they hear is always, it's not always fact. We keep forgetting we're human. We all make mistakes. Granted, in certain cases, it's intentional. It's always. It's just like we do so much all the time. One bad, everybody in that group from that is a group that bad for one bad act. And nobody can see past that. Another way to keep dividing us against each other. On each of us to our opinions, our own views. Thing. And make up our own mind. What are we going to allow into our lives? What are we going to take that is fact? Not. What rabbit hole are we going to go down and get caught in? Nothing's going down those holes. No, some of those rabbit holes are just get you down there and get so lost and twisted and turned around that you're missing things. That's why I also have a problem with things that trend. Sometimes things that are trending are trend something else that's on. We see it every day. Or we don't hear about subjects being talked about anymore, like what's going on in Venezuela. You know, nobody's really talking about the coming Winter Olympics. You know, what's going to happen if the little fat kid, I don't want to go during the winter. Nobody's from that. Nobody's asked about the Winter Olympics yet. Where's the Winter Olympics held, guys? Or South? It's held in South Korea. That will make that an interesting time next year. And I would put on my keep eye on list. Because the other thing about, well, I talk about it, but I haven't done the video yet. It's going to be a part of the maybe something I do occasionally. War. What is war? Well, it can be many different things. Getting into the world war aspects. Population control. It's money. There's no that wins an war yet. Everybody loses. Everybody has lost on both sides. And when we start dealing with world wars, it's massive. Roof. I mean, increases the population of the planet. The longer the war lasts and prolongs, the more life that's going to be lost, the more building, making ammo. I mean, we can make disagreement a good thing about philosophizing. Oh, I mean, that topic, what's going on, you know, because like me, you know, now every time I Twitter it, you know, don't retweet it. Chose not to. Why? Because they want you to. They want people to see it. It was something I watched on Facebook, actually. Somebody shared with me. I think it's brainwashing. You don't show them negative things into the narrative of negative. That it's worse than what it really is, when the actual facts and numbers say it's actually decreased. It's violent now than it's ever been. You know, but they go back to what I said about it. You can get two contradicting polls if you know how to. You know, sometimes by not talking about it, that's a good because, you know, like me, I don't try not the CW word. As I pointed out earlier, it's not going to be a civil war, a revolution if it ever happens. And not going to, don't like talking about it because it's feeding into that. And people talking about it more. When he's talking about more, sometimes you can actually make it happen. It's the danger that, you know, like when having fathers, it's the say that people come to. That's why I said Alex Jones was very dangerous. Truth to be told, I don't know, just like is very dangerous. Because anything happens to him could revert into revolutionary, all-out fighting here in the United States. Or a crash of the market happened Friday because of somebody refused to reach a statement after they found out or knew about it until, what, almost 6 hours later, and they knew about it well beforehand. You know, a huge market crash right now would topple this country. We don't talk that either. But the reality is it's there. I mean, that's what makes. Okay, that will be the second time I've connected from Hangouts. That's something. Beating the ends is a very hard one. It's just an algorithm we're dealing with anymore. It's what we're dealing with. As I showed the other day how, I mean, I have a notification in the middle of a broadcast I was doing from Twitch. On a topic in my description, wasn't in my title, wasn't in my tags, and that I just remembered and started talking about. No sooner I finished talking about, I had a notification of drone law, all because I was talking about drone laws in North Carolina. It was almost that instantaneous. That's what prompted me to do the consent, because we do not consent, yo. So we're kind of past the algorithms of it. You know, we're, as like some of the calls tonight with what's happening in the Hangouts, I say it's probably, at least not permanently, connection's perfect. Mine right now, there's no reason for that to disconnect. It's saying I lost connection. But it will not be it'll be a discussion from someone, more like I'll email you. We can talk about that on Skype or a private hangout not connected to a live stream. I mean, for the most experimentations and all the stuff done last year, I mean, granted, some of that has numbers. What magic number of followers you reach or subscribers you reach before you're really, or when your videos start getting more views, that drops into them. Goes back to my science being a small channel has its worth its weight in gold. I say with you guys back and forth in the chat. You know, we can talk about things. Chat's not moving a mile. It allows me talk about things that you see other channels get nailed for. I mean, in a sense, proof's in the pudding. Not gotten a community strike. Been up almost a year. In fact, I think the 15th. Under this channel for Drew Lima would be a year. And that's the backup channel to this. That's where I actually started live streaming from on a daily basis. I don't monetize. Oh, I'm in more control of the channel. I'm not allowing my freedoms and some of my right taken used against me, and not to talk about subjects. That's a personal choice, personal. I don't knock people that do, but I do get tired of hearing you crying about it. You used to do it. You chose to give that consent away. And the reality is, you created a YouTube channel, whether to watch videos or like, consent away. With EOS, it's all in the community guidelines. You've given those freedoms, those privacy, those rights. That's why I did that video. And when you turn on that phone and you click agree to activate it, you've given those right away. You give them away. It might not be written so you can understand it. They're called third-party app. A third party giving consent. You don't know what that third party, because a lot of times the third parties are anonymous. You don't realize you give consent to YouTube. You can allow videos to be embedded on your website. Actually, anybody that embeds a video website. You might not consent to this. You might not even have a YouTube channel. That person embedded that video. You gave YouTube rights to your back end of your website. Why? Because they have to have access to update that player. Then who knows how many other third parties are involved in what actions can do. And for those who give, I'm not allowed to. Well, you allow people to post, so yes, you did give consent. And the fact is, you gave consent from platform and their terms of service. Yeah, internet 2 will soon. That's the problem we deal in, There's that illusion of we have privacy, we have freedoms. Become an illusion. We think when we turn on all these devices, we get on a create website, we create pages, we don't. That's the illusion. We're supposed to, in reality. That's all right, especially the United States. Wait, that's where that ends, though, because corporations aren't held to until that happens. You have a constitutional rights when it comes to the internet. When it comes to corporations, they can do what they want. They will do it every time. I mean, we can see, well, you're suppressing freedom of speech. They are. Why? Bound to the Constitution. They have to acknowledge it. They give you those rights. That now falls on us. That should be we should demand Congress, our government, governors, our politicians pass laws to hold corporations accountable. Make them adhere to our constitutional rights. You want to start right there. Protect people's freedom. Want to have the freedom to come on here and do what you want. that needs to take place. You know, until we all decide to come together, petition our congressmen and governors. I might not even hear it from the full majority of us, but no, I am not. I can't stream to Facebook. Not on this. I might shared a video to Facebook from this channel. I got 90-day ban or suspension. I have the video, but I have to use a split to do it. No, actually, no. I have to log in to stream it. Restream is what it's called. Restream allows you to simultaneously stream from YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and a bunch of other ones while you're streaming from one device. To be on all platforms live at the same time. To go into your settings, create a Restream account, which is just into your settings of your ID key. It's on your don't create event, but go create live stream. It'll be a key that you get. You got to put into the code, and allows you to stream from here to Facebook, Twitch. I've done it a couple times using Split. I don't have my connection's not strong enough to do that many live at once. And plus, what's the point? I'll just get a 90-day ban if I share one of these videos here. Facebook. I learned that lesson. I did play around that. What I now, when I want to talk about these things on Facebook, on a stream for, play Wordpress and use my live streamer from there, from Blizzard, and play the game and talk about it while I'm playing the game. Thus far, I haven't got banned or anything. They just say it's Wordpress. Somebody's gaming, people are conversating while gaming. Seems to work. So I have a way around it. But set up one here earlier this week. But all kinds of issues because I'm trying to use my Cortex to do the live. Because the Blizzard app's only on Facebook, right? So I was trying to use my RaceX, which needed to boost my games so it wouldn't be laggy, so I could actually stream to YouTube. Yeah, it's been going on for almost 2 hours, 3 hours, so I'm gonna wrap up my, like I said. I'm just pretty much, well, when you guys listen to the Chaotic Mind, it's just gonna be me talking about various topics, interacting with you. You know, no topics, it's just whatever comes to mind. Me rambling, but the things that go through my mind, ideas, theories, lots of something a little bit different for this channel, you know, more free-flowing. Like I said, this next week I'll set up, I haven't figured out what day I'm going to do it. I got a lot of stuff going on this week. But I am going to do Night and White China. And I'm going to try the live stream. And maybe I might switch a little gears and things and record it and upload stuff or prepping. I haven't quite decided. Like I said, week's kind of chaotic. So I'm going to try to do at least one stream where it's just like either coffee, evening coffee, afternoon coffee, where we just sit here and chat. But I want to get back to topic discussions as well. So, for that this week, try to keep at least 3 or 2 a week. I'm trying to burn it. Like I said, I'm going to do the 73rd video for this channel. I mean, I've done almost 200 videos this year between 3 different channels. So I'm kind of tapering all that off. Well, one just became a backup song for this. But like I said, guys, it's something a little bit different. There's no this is not going to be about here in the United States. There's shit going on all over the world that I'll talk about on this, because, you know, sometimes we forget the impact that things overseas have up to it as well. You know, just like I said, nobody's talking about bad sides to testing their missile during the Olympics. Scary, if you think about it. Really scary, because the Winter Olympics is going to be held in South Korea. You know, and that dude is so unpredictable. Predict what's going through his mind or what he might do. And I mean, I don't love the Olympics, summer and winter. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to winter just because of where it's at and all the tension we got going on. You know, it's one of those things primed to happen that could have some major repercussions. And I'd actually like to see more people kind of start talking about that, because it's something that we should be kind of addressing. You know, talking about what is, the theories, the potentials of what could happen versus what might not happen. You know, how's it get spun in the media? I'm actually going to know. I think I report something during the Olympics. You know, it could be a very scary period of time. And, you know, like I said, it used to be when we had the Olympics. Olympics actually used to mean something very important. It was always viewed as any war or anything. It used to be a ceasefire. That nothing would pop off. Over the years, it used to be, it was meant for a time of peace, for nations to come together in sport, in game, unity. That's what it was. In some of the Grecian theories, theology and stuff, it was really designed for people to innovate routines and strive in peace during war times. You know, as the more modern age, we've lost the reality of that. You know, for times a nation would just, we're boycotting it, we're sending our people there. You know, it's definitely something to keep in the back of our minds as we approach March. And I plan on doing a topic about it, you know, a little bit detail and talk about what I see things happening. One of those things I feel is kind of important we actually do talk about. That's okay. Just like I said, when you topics like that, it is worth talking about. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen. We can only theorize, you know, discuss stuff, you know, because that would happen during that time. Fucking a real world stage, because every nation, every country is represented in the Olympics. That has a global impact if the little fat guy decides to be stupid. You know, like I said, we'll talk about that later. Maybe after the holidays. Kind of don't want to be talking anything too depressing while we're from the hot weekends. Really, we kind of want to keep these streams, with good vibes, which is kind of hard to when you reach into certain topics, but it's also fun, it's positivity, because who knows, might play devil's advocate, who might see that we can use Olympics where it's being held as a cessation of tension, as what the Olympics used to stood for, that rash being handled, so to speak. So there's a positive way to look at it all. But like I said, I am going to get rambled on for a while. I'll talk to you guys sometime next week. You guys enjoy. Be safe. And I will see you in the next broadcast.